Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, Boots on the Ground, where we spotlight professionals in the field who have overcome challenges and how they work through them. Their stories offer real-world insights and tips for thriving in today's competitive landscape.
Hey, welcome back to Get Your Mind Right, the world's only podcast dedicated to merchant services and digital marketing specialists. Now, with me today is Whitney Johnson. Good afternoon, Whitney.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm pretty good. It's rainy. We're doing good. We're doing good, though.
Another day in Indiana.
You are so right.
Yeah. Well, it's great having you on today, Whit, and we're going to get to this in a minute on why I have you on the show today, but give us a little bit about your background and your tenure here at Evolve.
Oh, that's a fun one. So I first started back in May of 2018.
Whoa.
Yeah.
7 years you've been here.
I know. I say that, and people, it takes them back a little bit. So a little bit of background there. So I first came on as an intern between my freshman and sophomore years of college. I worked in a couple different capacities there all along the building. And then after I graduated college, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, tried that out for a year, didn't like it. Then I got the invitation to come back. I started as a sales admin.
Now, what was that all about?
That was actually a new position at the time. So essentially what it was, helping manage our internal team, support them, and support those partnerships as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what kind of experiences and skills did you pick up on that job that provided the segue into your current job as a relationship advocate?
I think the greatest skill that job probably gave me was seeing a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. What does it take to see a deal through from beginning to end? What does it take to service and nurture a successful partnership with a referral partner?
Mm-hmm.
And as well, what's expected from management, from employees in servicing these leads and these merchants and these partners. So I think that's probably what suited me best in my new role as an internal sales rep.
So I'm smiling while you were talking here. Did it also show you? You said that the importance of doing this and doing that. Did you learn also the importance of what not to do?
Oh yeah. Probably more than maybe what I learned to do.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get into that a little bit.
Okay.
So for you folks that aren't aware, Evolve had its annual sales summit in January. And Whit, you walked your way with what, if this were the Academy Awards, this would be equivalent to Best Director or Best Picture, Best Actress. So tell me about that.
Yeah, it was a very humbling experience. So I won several awards, but I believe the one that you're referring to is most new merchant IDs by Relationship Advocate. So essentially, most brand new deals, whether that be processing or digital, and it was a tight race between me and some of my colleagues, and I just happened to come out with more at the end there.
And it was close.
It was very close.
Came down to the very last day of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was single digit difference there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to correct you on one thing here. It wasn't just Relationship Advocates. It was production for the entire franchise.
Okay, yeah.
So that's quite an accomplishment. So listen, the reason I brought you on the show here today is it's actually a couple months ago. I heard your huddle, and you were talking about loving what you do and loving what you sell. And I thought it was really good. You had insights on authenticity and provided to folks really a fresh perspective on how believing in what you're doing and having a personal mission and believing in what the company's mission is really all adds up to personal success and also success for your clients. So that's really all I want to dive into today.
Sure. Yeah. So that huddle, actually, that idea originated many moons ago when we first got started with the morning huddle. That was actually Megan Sims, our now director of operations, that kind of started out as her baby and then kind of evolved and I took it on as my own.
Oh, well, see, I didn't even know that.
The more you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll get a chance to get your perspective on that today. So, let's dive into what we talked about at the top of this, about loving what you're selling. So, talk to me about how you have a passion for your products or services, what that and how that translates into sales success.
Yeah, so I think something that I've definitely seen is my enthusiasm, that the merchant's going to pick up on that. So if I'm excited about what I'm selling them, they're going to be excited about it too. And there's many reasons why I'm excited about it, but I think first and foremost, what's a major driver for me is because I have seen time and time again how what we do can benefit these merchants and actually even change their lives.
So talk to me about some of those things.
Yeah. So we'll be coming back to this later, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Evolve's value proposition: increasing sales, decreasing costs, and mitigating risk. All of our solutions are designed to do all of these things, and just being part of this organization, I've been very very highly trained, not only on how to accomplish these things for a merchant, but also on relaying this value to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good, very good. You also hit a topic. You said, I'm quoting you here. You said to sell authentically and successfully, you need to be 100% behind your product and service, and you need to believe in it. Okay, so yeah, we've already touched on this on already on how you emphasize that. Can you talk to me about a time that you've been like in a difficult place? And I won't dive down any further. It could be any kind of difficult place, but your belief in your product, your personal mission, or what Evolve's doing has really carried the day for you.
Yeah, so I think probably the most obvious for me is the buyer's choice program,
Mm-hmm.
offloading that processing fee. And merchants have certainly become more accepting of the idea over time, but for some folks, it is it's unknown, it's new, it's a little bit scary,
Why
right?
does it scare them? I mean, you think about this. We do business with folks all day. That business may have been open for 60 years and they've been accepting credit cards that whole time. Why is this so scary to them?
I think change is scary, and it's kind of crazy too. I feel like more businesses than not are offering a program at least adjacent to this one, and
Mm-hmm.
folks probably just don't even realize that they're participating
Mm-hmm.
in it whenever they patronize these types of businesses.
Okay.
So, back to your question, I feel like, there are some still folks who are still on the fence about it, or maybe they're just not familiar with it at all. But we've seen too, those credit card fees are killer, right?
Yeah.
Of course we have a cost with that, but then the card brands and just with the cost of living in the world, it's going up.
Right.
So, for small businesses, that can make or break them. One of our reps here, that's been around for a long time, the way that they put it, Visa and MasterCard, they own a percentage of your business, right? You don't totally own your business. And that strikes the chord with people, right? They're paying these processing fees. So a way that I leverage that is, hey, we have a way that it's fair. It's very fair. We can offload those processing fees. So you're paying a couple hundred, a couple thousand, tens and thousands, who knows how much a month on these processing fees. Think of what you can do with that money if we put it back in your pocket, right? You could hire more staff. You could increase your inventory. You can add an addition to your building, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is very real money to these folks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just having that conversation, definitely that's a way that I've seen where that can be beneficial.
So, I've been involved in the training this product, and I think it's really interesting because you talk specifically about buyer's choice here,
Mm-hmm.
or dual pricing. Is that logic is there,
Mm-hmm.
right? It literally every business owner you talk to, they understand I'm going to go from this exorbitant processing fees to zero, right? They've already also accepted the proposition of taking credit cards, right? So the logic is there 100% of the time. But you used the word earlier, they're scared. Okay, so let's peel that back a little bit. What you said, scared of change. Well, what else are they scared of?
Well, so people don't buy on logic, right? They buy on emotion.
Mm.
So it's new and it's unknown. They might be afraid of turning off their customers. They might be afraid of not being competitive in their market. And I think to some extent those can be valid. But going back to belief in the product, I think me personally, I've seen this program in action, and buyer's choice is an obvious example, but everything that we offer has some kind of
Mhm.
example like this.
Mhm.
I believe in it. I've seen how it can change people's lives. Like I mentioned, they can hire more help. They can
Mhm.
expand the business and grow it like they would want
Improve
to.
the bottom line.
Exactly. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
people are in business for, right?
Yeah.
Is to make money. So, me seeing all of those things real time has really fed into my belief and my ability to relay that to the merchant.
Right. It's a big difference between saying something and you've experienced it over and over and over.
Right. I mean, I'm sure you can probably hear the passion in my voice right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You said something else I want to explore. You said that, they get the logic, but they buy on emotion, right? You deal, I mean, we deal with a lot of smart people. We got some merchants that are really, really, they're forward thinking. They've got a great vision. And, you think of business people tend to be driven by cold, hard logic, but it's really not the case.
Not always. They certainly can be, but I think just finding that common ground and being able to make that emotional connection and effectively relay how what we can do will benefit them in
Mhm.
real life, right? Not just,
Mhm.
okay, you're going to have this much more money in your pocket. What can you do with that money? Or, let's say maybe they're just a traditional merchant and we upgrade their solution. Let's say they're key entering everything on a terminal today,
Mhm.
and really they need a gateway. Time is money, right? What can you do with all that free time that you've got on your hands right now? Can you focus on more important tasks?
Right. Right. Okay. So let's circle back to what I brought up a little bit ago about our value proposition. Okay. So, I'd really like you to talk about that a little more, and, how you communicate those benefits effectively and directly to a client in a way that's going to resonate with their specific needs.
Yeah, so I think that value proposition has been drilled into my head since day one.
Now, wait, day one in this job or 2018?
Yeah, back in 2018, day one, I saw it on the wall and I said, "That's it, that's it." Yeah, so we here at Evolve, we increase sales, we decrease costs, we mitigate risk. That's really our mission statement. We want to leave our merchants in a better place by doing all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And just in speaking with a merchant, obviously there's going to be certain things that resonate more than others will, right? So, of course, what business owner doesn't want to increase sales, right?
Right.
We have ways to do that, right? We can eliminate processing fees, boost your sales that way, and not to mention too on our digital marketing suite, right? Drive traffic to the business, increasing sales on that front as well. And just in talking to the merchant too, how are we going to decrease your costs, right? The buyer's choice program. Maybe you're written at 200 basis points right now. We can definitely come down on that as well.
Right.
And make sure that you're actually receiving value for what you're getting. Mitigate risk too. This it's kind of crazy. I talk to folks all of the time who, with their current providers, they are not PCI compliant. A dirty little secret most processors don't want you to know. They don't want you to be compliant because they make more money off of you that way, which is kind of crazy to me because you're less secure and you're paying more for it, right? So PCI, in that increased risk, that's a big selling point for folks as well. So
I really dislike that about our industry because this PCI is there for the merchant, and
Right.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't have a percentage, but I must say a big majority of the companies, they do not make their merchants PCI compliant because they make more money, and that is so short-sighted and such a money grab. At the base level, if my merchant is out of business, how are they going to continue to process their credit cards with me?
Yeah.
Answer is they can't. Okay, and it's so serious and so impactful. I just think it is just willfully negligent and greedy for these companies not to make their merchants PCI compliant.
Exactly. And I was literally talking to a merchant today. They said that they've been trying for 2 and 3 years to get compliant with their current provider, and those requests have fallen on deaf ears. So it's really disheartening.
So you think, I mean, I can't help but believe that that's intentional on the part of the processor.
I mean, absolutely, right? it's a power dynamic, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really disheartening.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an area where we really stand out in doing right by our merchants.
Yeah, yeah, and and it's so odd to me too because I think by doing right by the merchant, you're also doing right by yourself.
Mhm.
It's a pretty straightforward proposition,
Everyone wins, right? Like
right?
the merchants, your colleagues, your partners,
Hmm.
yourself. Everyone wins.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. So going back to your presentation here, I got a few notes here I'm working off of. Is you talked about how crucial of import the clarity is that
Mhm.
when you're communicating with a merchant, right? So talk to me a little bit about that. What that's all about.
Yeah, so I think especially as someone who lives and breathes in this industry, it is really easy to get wrapped up in processing lingo and basis points and gateways and
Hmm.
authorization fees and putting myself in the shoes of just like a regular person who knows nothing about this industry. I think that's really overwhelming and it's really frustrating. And I see sales reps make those issues a lot. Um, they're not communicating in a language that the merchant can understand. So the approach that I take is putting myself in a position where I know nothing about the credit card processing industry. How would I like to be spoken to? And that's how I communicate with my merchants on that side. So staying away from that language, like basis points and gateways, and really just relaying what we have in layman's terms and how that's going to benefit them on the other side.
Yeah, gotcha. It's really important, right?
Yes.
I hear sales reps. Of course, we have our avatar for that is Larry the Loser. But yeah, as you're well acquainted with Larry, right?
Yes.
That I see this as still dominating our industry. And I think there's a couple of things. I think that people are trained the wrong way,
Hmm.
and they're really just regurgitating the way they've been trained, which is incorrectly.
Right.
Now you got to understand all these things behind the scenes, but the merchant they don't necessarily want to know all that, right? When you go to a doctor, you got to have surgery. You're not going to have him walk through step by step everything he's going to do on the surgery. You want to know what his credentials are. Can he get this done? It's the same thing in our industry, and I think that there are a lot of people in our industry. Again, they're compelled to show you how much they know, and they can, in fact, give you the step by step of the surgery. When the merchant, not only do they not care about it, you're just alienating them.
Right. We call that the information dump truck.
Oh yeah, yeah. That sucker beeps as it's backing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No one wants to hear that. So another thing that you talked about on this huddle is about the importance of an elevator pitch.
Yeah. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying about just having a layman's speak conversation with the merchant.
Right.
So, hey, here's what we have to offer and here's how it can benefit you, and just relaying all of that information in really plain and simple terms.
And a few words as well.
Few words, yeah.
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 Now, obviously, that I know firsthand that you get into pitches, and it's not unusual for one of these dialogues to go an hour or 2 hours with a merchant. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a lot longer than an elevator pitch. So, tell me then the importance of that elevator pitch and how that informs and relates to an extensive pitch where you're covering a lot of things with a merchant.
So I really think it just boils down to needs analysis. So the way that I always like to start it, and I talk to merchants just like we're talking right now, right? Just really conversational, pleasant. So I like to start the conversation with, "Hey, how are you processing today?" And what I find is that is really helpful for me to know. They could be on an old, outdated terminal. They could be on a really sophisticated gateway.
Mm-hmm.
That it helps me develop the merchant's baseline knowledge with how they're doing things today, and also see where those gaps are where I can benefit them. So maybe they're on a terminal and they're really frustrated with it, or so that helps me understand where that gap is. Or maybe they're on a gateway today and they really like all the functionality, but their fees are really high, and
Right.
then maybe I dig a little bit further and I see that they're not qualifying level 2 and level 3 transactions.
Right. Well, one of the things that I get, and I use this on interviewing folks too, and just developing people, is I say, give me your elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And people have the deer in the headlights, right? I think it's really important because when you're in any kind of sales or business development, you're meeting people all the time, and when people say, well, what do you do? Well, we're into credit card processing services. So we have a number of gateway. I mean, you completely lost them. Okay. But when you engage them, like in our value proposition,
Yeah.
how we impact the life of that business, people listen to that, resonates with them.
Right.
And I think that when you're focused on that and you train yourself on that, it really informs everything you do, and you're even down to your everyday transactions with folks.
Exactly. So that could be simple. Hey, Mr. Merchant, I don't know if I can help you here, but I'm going to do my best to figure that out. What we do, we increase sales, we decrease costs, we mitigate risk. I can help you do all of these things through X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm. So, next question here. You talked a little bit about your purpose and the company's value proposition, right? So, yeah, how do you augur that in with like your unique selling proposition? Tell me how you've connected with your purpose with your purpose and sales and the unique value you're bringing to your clients today.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I think that unique selling point is going to vary for different people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got into this industry because you liked the freedom with your schedule, or
absolutely
you like the income potential.
10 people, 10 different stories.
Right. So I think I'm kind of unique in that I've only ever known this industry in my adult life, and I just kind of fell into it, and I think that's really an anomaly. But as I think first and foremost, I found a home here at Evolve. I found people that I liked being around. I found a mission statement I could get behind. And as it turns out, we're in the business of selling, and I just happen to be really good at it.
All right. Well, very good. Well, folks, we are out of time today. But Whit, can you come back and we'll do episode 2 of this?
I'll be here.
That'd be great. Are you going to bring the Riz again tomorrow?
I've always got the Riz.
Well, I appreciate that. For Whitney Johnson, I'm John Johnson. I'll see you back here next time on Get Your Mind Right.